I have a question for you. How do you know if you've had a successful range day? If you're anything like me, it's a question you don't really think about often. You think about being at the range, but you don't really think about what exactly you're going to do while you're there. Sometimes I go just to have fun without any set goal in mind, and I encourage you to have those days too. But on days I know I'm going because I want to practice and improve my skills, sometimes I don't know what I should actually do. What drills should I choose? How do I know which one is for me? In this video, I want to talk about how you can make the most out of your range days. More recently, I found that a little planning ahead has made me a lot more productive when practicing. The way I increase my productivity is by deciding on a set of exercises ahead of time that'll help me practice certain skills. These drills give me the structure that I need. There are countless drills available, so sometimes it can be overwhelming when deciding how to pick one over the other. So when I think about which drills I want to work on, I really try to break it down based on my scenario. So let's say I'm considering concealed carry. Well, then obviously you probably want to work from your inside the waistband holster. Maybe you work an appendix. Maybe that's a drill that you want to focus on a little more. Things that are going to work, focus on you drawing from your holster. And maybe you want to engage a few targets and take, several shots, target transitions. That's something to consider. Maybe you're looking at home defense. Then maybe you want to pick drills where you're limited to a certain distance at the range. You don't need to be engaging for 100 yards, doing drills where you engage for 100 yards unless you happen to have a really big house. So I feel like once you have that as your kind of baseline, you can pick different drills. You can even just go on Google or YouTube. You'll be able to find a bunch of different ones that fit these. You can also just make up your own as well. I would say the only downside is that make sure you devote some time before you actually get to the range to really think about what specifically you're going to work on. Because sometimes you might fall into the trap of, I'll figure it out when I'm there. But in reality, once you're there, you don't actually know what you're going to do. So as long as you have drills which are repeatable, where you can actually measure your progress as well, and frankly are easy to understand and maybe not too complicated, I think you're really set. So surprise, surprise, it's actually quite windy and loud here at the range, as ranges usually are. So I'll just finish filming in here. But basically, once you've decided what kind of drills you want to do, I'd recommend picking no more than maybe 1 to 3. Really depends how long you'll actually stay at the range. But after you've picked the handful of drills that you want to do, whether you made those up yourself or if they're from someone you got online, just start running them at the range. Take your time, trust the process. I do also want to talk a little bit about what gear you bring to the range with you. I definitely don't want to make this too much of the focus, as in if you don't have this gear or don't buy a certain thing, then your range day shot. You're not going to do well. It's not the case. But having these things can really complement your training and are just incredibly convenient to have. First, which should not be a surprise, is some kind of range belt, or war belt is what they're usually called. You probably already know what that is if you're watching this video, but it's a belt that you use to carry your ammo, your gun, your holster, and anything else you really need. Really, really helpful to practice reloads and drawing from the holster. The one I have is just a T-Rex Arms Orion belt. This one I've had for maybe about 2-3 years, and it's held up just fine. For me, I run 3 pistol mags and then 1 rifle mag. Then I have a dump pouch at the end, and then I just put a shot timer as well onto it. And the holster I have is a Safariland. I think it's the 6360, whatever the low drop is, and it's a level 3 holster. Another thing that I've also mentioned in several of my videos already is a shot timer. So instead of just going for accuracy when you shoot, you also have speed, which is another element. That is an incredibly helpful way to quantify your progress and really helps you measure how you're actually doing as you keep coming back to the range each time. And then of course you need the almighty Sharpie marker, or some kind of pencil or pen that helps you mark your targets after you've been shooting. This way, when you use the same target over and over, you don't constantly have to memorize where your shots were from the previous drill. You straight up just mark it off, and then you know where your shots are the next time. And now for the fun stuff, the guns themselves. So I have my main EDC, which is my Glock 17, which I've done a review on a few videos ago, which I can link in the description. Feel free to check that out. And then for the rifle itself, I think every now and then, after you've been shooting optics in the more modern guns for a while, you want to go back to something retro, something a little more classic. So with me, I have my kind of Car 15-ish inspired clone. It's really not anything clone correct, but I like it a lot. I have a 12.5-inch BCM lower, and it's a Delton upper receiver that I shoot every now and then. It is a 12.5-inch Criterion barrel, chambered in 223 Wild, and I love it. It's only had about 200 rounds through it, so it's pretty new, but it's pretty sexy. I love the clean classic look, and so that's what we're running today. Now that I know what I want to practice and what drills I'll use to do so, I'll use my gear to complement my training. I'll usually stay a couple hours and make sure to record my hits and time as I go. I won't drag you through the rest of my range day, so I'll leave you with some parting thoughts. First, it's important to enjoy your time shooting, so while I hope you can take something away from this video, don't feel like you always have to accomplish something or learn a new skill every time you go. Shooting just for the sake of having fun is important. Second, remember that getting good takes time and patience. I am absolutely still learning myself, and I know that I'll always have something to improve on, but I remember to celebrate the little wins along the way. Just try to be consistent with how often you go. With that being said, keep at it, keep shooting, and remember to have a good time along the way.